Right, you guys hear me okay? Yeah, welcome to day one, the 26th TLF here. Welcome everyone to Park City and everyone online. Appreciate you tuning in. I am Zane Meehan. I'm a research associate, KeyBanc. I'm stepping in for Jason Salino today, who fortunately has to be away. His wife is expecting any moment now, so we send our luck to him. But super happy to be joined by Pros Holdings today. I've got Jeff Cotton, CEO, and Stefan Schulz, CFO. So Stefan, why don't we start with you? For anyone who might not be, might be newer to the Pros story, can we get a quick overview on, what market Pros operates in, what kind of customers you have, just a general overview of the company?
Yeah, happy to do that, and thank you, Zane, and thank you for having us here. We're thrilled to be a part of this conference. Pros has an interesting story. About 40 years ago, our founders, a husband and wife team, worked at what is today United Airlines, and that was right about the time deregulation occurred. And so they had this realization that airlines were going to have a very difficult time pricing inventory, a month, 2 months, 12 months in advance. And so they wrote and they started a company and started building software that helped airlines predict how to price seats on a flight over a period of time up to 12 months. And that then grew into what we call a revenue management solution. And then there's a bunch of ancillary products that have built off of it. But in order to calculate that, in order to predict what the inventory and the demand was going to look like, they started leveraging algorithms and science a long time ago, decades ago. So realistically, we've been using AI now for much longer as a part of our solution than most companies or most of us are even aware. That about 20 years ago became a part of what we wanted to do on the B2B side. So anytime you have a situation where pricing is dynamic, where pricing can be different for a similar type of a scenario, is where our science and our algorithms play a part. And so what you can see is a very close complementary market being in the B2B space. So like I said, we launched into that about 20 years ago. And today, we offer a full service price optimization and management capability. We have a configure price quote or CPQ solution on the B2B side. As I mentioned earlier, on the travel side, we have products that go from revenue management to real-time dynamic pricing to group sales optimization to offer marketing. So really, the theory and the structure behind what we do is bringing buyers and sellers together to optimize to winning, really helping win transactions more and more by utilizing our technology and our capabilities.
Perfect. Very thorough. Jeff, you have now been in the seat, CEO, for I think 3 months now? Almost 3 months?
Yeah, 2 months and like 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, seemingly been a very successful period so far. Maybe give a quick background on, where you were prior to this, what drew you to Pros, and some of the, early initiatives you hope to, put in place.
Yeah, sure. So my 2 most recent stops were in what's called the contact center as a software space, CCaaS, which is basically providing systems of interaction, telephony systems, chat systems, that kind of thing to enable customer service operations. And we were very, very heavy in the CRM space, very specifically. So I knew generally the space that Pros played in, and specifically sort of what's called order to cash. And I was very excited by the great history the company had in AI very specifically. Being an AI native company, obviously in today's landscape, is a huge benefit for our company. And being known for that, obviously, is something that we can capitalize on and leverage. So a couple things that I saw that really made me want to take this opportunity, that AI component certainly being one. The second is an opportunity to really accelerate go-to-market. The company is well known in certain niches, airline obviously being one. In the B2B space, I think there's a huge opportunity to increase and getting at-bats in anybody who's considering a CPQ transformation or an order to cash transformation. and specifically leveraging partners to be able to do that. We leverage partners today to help influence deals, but there's a whole set of companies that we can work with to get into their deal flows to bring us in where either they don't have price optimization or maybe their CPQ capabilities aren't as strong as ours, especially in really complex scenarios. And then the third thing that really attracted me here was the culture of the company. The company is very proud of its culture. The culture is, very much gotten the company today to where it is. It's a very innovation heavy culture, but it's a very product-centric culture. And so I also see an opportunity for us to infuse a lot more go-to-market into our culture and really driving acceleration into go-to-market.
Perfect. Thank you. One more item on the recap side. So you guys just reported second quarter earnings, I think 10 days ago. And great results. I think it was your biggest revenue beat above consensus in well over a year. So maybe just kind of recap 2Q for us real quick and what drove that outperformance, what drove the beat.
Yeah, so I think it was across the board solid performance. So we have a particularly large industry in the airlines, as I mentioned earlier. That's really how we were founded. That part of our product set has done very well over the course of the last year. So it was a strong contributor. I would say that our B2B business was also a strong contributor, primarily around the price optimization and management tool, as well as our CPQ tool. So both performed quite well, and that was really the genesis to us increasing our ARR guide and our subscription revenue guide, was seeing both of those parts of the business performing well. And we continue to also see acceleration in our free cash flow margin, which we're obviously wanting to see improvements in that each and every year. As we leverage AI internally as a business, we're going to continue to see that not only this year, but next year as well.
Perfect. Maybe pivoting to everyone's favorite topic when it comes to pros, let's talk about the travel business. So you guys have highlighted growing momentum over the past year, 2 years, really coming out of the pandemic. Maybe what's driving that momentum in the travel business? Obviously, pretty depressed levels coming out of the pandemic, but what's been driving that momentum that you guys are seeing and the strength in travel?
Yeah, so this has been one of the biggest delighters, I would say, for me coming into the company. It's validating there's an opportunity there and a significant opportunity, frankly. And we're seeing a couple of different dynamics there. First of all, Pros made an acquisition back in 2021 of a company called Everymundo, which gave us digital offer marketing capability, which allows us to help an airline place an ad when someone's searching on things like Google for, I want to go to Miami. And now American Airlines or whatever airline can go and place an ad to say, here's an experience with a price, et cetera. And we've seen really good demand from that particular product, which is just strengthening that offer management capability that we bring to the market. And then the second big trend that I would tell you that I've been really delighted to see is that we're having strategic conversations with just about every top global airline management team as they're looking to take all the lessons learned they've had in pricing and ancillary services. So all the things that we know and love about flying today, where you can now have an upcharge to get a better seat or a bag fee and those kinds of things. And they're really trying to transition that experience now into owning the end-to-end traveler experience and being able to offer more than just everything associated with that seat. And this is where we see a tremendous amount of sort of new demand potential for us, because we really play really well in that offer management capability between our revenue management capabilities, our dynamic pricing capabilities, our continuous and elastic demand capabilities. And so that is another area from a travel perspective that we're seeing every management team sort of think about how are they going to have the tech stack to create that offer management capability as they want to own the whole experience, and Pros will play right at the center of that.
Perfect. So yeah, pulling on that success that you've seen, you've noted 2 notable wins, or 1 notable win back and then 1 notable expansion. So maybe spend a minute. Southwest was, a notable win back. Maybe talk about, how you won them back and if that's a repeatable process with, maybe other customers that have churned out. And then secondly, You called out American Airlines as an expansion from an existing customer. Maybe a little bit more detail on what they expanded with and anything you can share there.
Yeah, so actually both of those are our digital offer market capability. And with Southwest, we're very proud, obviously, of the win back, as you note. This is one of the things I'll give the pros team when I stepped in. The tenacity of our sales team is ferocious. And we were bound and determined to win Southwest Airlines back in a meaningful way, which we've done. And actually that continues to expand. And so it's also now given us a seat back at the table, as frankly they've had some pretty publicized struggles with their tech stack as they went with sort of a single vendor approach, trying to standardize on a single platform, and that's created some challenges, and it's created an opportunity for us to now help them understand what a best-of-breed approach could look like and the role that pros can play not only in digital offer marketing, but expanded outside of that as we're helping them think through what does an offer market capability look like. So we're very excited about Southwest, and yes, that motion is very repeatable. This is where that digital offer market solution really does open up the door for us to either do win backs or win new logos, new airlines actually that we aren't working with today. There's we have relationships with the majority of the big global players, but there's a long tail of smaller carriers, a lot of which we have, but some of which we don't. So that's a great new logo acquisition capability. American, also digital offer marketing. And once again, we're continuing to expand how they're leveraging that capability, different markets that they're leveraging it for. And once again, it's creating the exact same entry point for us to have now a broader conversation with American, as once again, they're trying to think about how can I go own the majority of that traveler experience.
Perfect. Yeah, and just a quick follow-up on that. So within travel, would you say, the strength that you're seeing is more coming from new logos or expansions, or is it a pretty healthy mix of the two?
It's a good mix, although in the airline space, because we do have so much penetration, a lot of it is expansion. So that's certainly the vast majority of what we see on the airline side. But I don't want to downplay that, certainly there is still some acquisition opportunity on the travel side.
Okay, great. So although we've been talking about it kind of around the edges, but I want to pivot into AI. As Belinda likes to say, pros has been doing AI since before it was cool. So I want to ask about how AI is integrated into the pros platform, specifically on the travel, the revenue management, the offer marketing, and with the last 2 years, AI being the hottest of all buzzwords, if that AI hype has led to more top of funnel activity, you're seeing more top of funnel activity.
Yeah. So I always like to first kind of break this down for people to kind of understand where why is pros this specialist in travel intelligence and specifically around pricing. So if you think about an airline and you and your travel experience, just making it personal here for a minute, right? You may have a last minute trip come along and you want to make sure hopefully there's going to be a seat on a good range of different flights throughout a day. And what Pros does is we help airlines try to predict based on historical trends, time of day, time of week, time of year, certain routes, and calculate that literally per flight of the day to optimize how many seats they need to preserve so that there's one available for those that are willing to pay for it and need it. And that also has created the opportunity for us to now help those airlines understand what is the optimal price I can offer way out in advance to offer a low-cost fare as well, and optimize the mix on every single flight for every seat on the flight, what the right mix of pricing. It's literally matching real time with lots of historical analysis as well as other things that are going on in a specific market, right? When World Cup happens, obviously we help an airline anticipate and create demand, either increase capacity or figure out what the optimal prices are, taking all kinds of sort of dynamics and variables into account via those algorithms. And actually, we also love to talk about the fact that actually when you look at airline pricing and fares over a long period, you go back to 1993, when the U.S. federal government started tracking fares, we've actually driven down prices and fares 41% when you adjust for inflation. So we've truly been a part of helping democratize travel. But It's because of those algorithms. So I like to refer to that as the brains. That is really the core of this AI moat that Pros has developed over a number of years. And now with agents, you can take this brain to be the pricing brain and the forecasting brain that enables an agent, so that now our revenue managers of our airline customers can have a very natural agent interface, to have a natural conversation about, hey, should I be thinking about a different fare optimization for a certain route? The same thing is on the B2B side. As we're launching new agents there, that same pricing intelligence that we have on the B2B side now is exposed through an agent, as well as agents for our CPQ products. So now, instead of a complex visual configurator for a sales rep to configure a quote, now they have an LLM where they can sit there and say, hey, I've got an HVAC customer, 20,000 square foot unit that's aluminum siding. I need an optimal configuration, and they can do that very naturally via an agent.
Perfect. Very helpful. One last one on travel. And this one kind of more on the competitive landscape, but the Wall Street Journal had an article a couple weeks ago about Delta, and the crux of that article was not something we necessarily need to get into. But one thing that they did call out was a tool that they're using called Fetcher. That was a new name to me. I wasn't familiar with them. But maybe a good jumping off point for what the competitive landscape looks like in the travel side of the business, and if Fetcher is indeed like an incumbent that you're seeing in more deals, and maybe just an overview there.
Yeah. So Fetcher's an Israeli-based startup, and look, we don't know all of the details of exactly what they do. They're very specifically focused on pricing and pricing only. So they don't have inventory control, demand forecasting, and all the really important components that you need to really be able to determine a price. And certainly one of the things that was talked about when that was actually announced in Delta's earnings call was specifically being able to do individualized, personalized fare pricing. And what I want to say is that, first of all, Pros does not do that. We will not do that. We very much agree with American Airlines that that's not an appropriate practice, and it's just not something that we do. What we are about is truly trying to optimize supply and demand. So, look, it's obviously a very competitive space in the airline and travel segment. Amadeus and Sabre tend to be the competitors that we most often see, but we're really focused more on revenue management as a broader category, and then evolving that to a total offer management capability, which is much more than just pricing.
Perfect. Stefan, want to not ignore you.
No problem.
Give you a couple of financial questions. So you did mention it earlier, but on the margin side, you guys have seen healthy uptick in expansion the last couple of years. What you mentioned earlier was your use of AI internally. I'd note that the headcount has been pretty consistent, flatline, which I think is a testament to that AI usage. Maybe just unpack for the audience, what exactly you're using AI for and how that is impacting the margin expansion story.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd say about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we set as one of our core pillars of our strategy as a company was to infuse AI in everything we do. And so the challenge literally has been to every employee in the company, how can you leverage AI to further your own efficiency and in your own group's improvement? And in full transparency, there's been some groups that are faster than others. I would say the fastest group and the group that's probably getting the best in terms of synergy and efficiency is our R&D group. We use it quite significantly from a development perspective. It ranges in terms of the productivity improvements from 30 to 40% type of an improvement. So that's one of the reasons why we can continue to come out with technology and enhancements to our solution and not necessarily raise our head count. But I'd tell you there's even more to come on that. And AJ Damani, who runs our engineering program, is deeply involved in this initiative and is championing a lot of these improvements. And I think I can tell you there's more to come. But it's not just there. We've seen it throughout other parts of our organization. Our demand gen, our SDR team leverages AI to a significant degree to make their targeting more efficient and make their research more efficient in terms of who they're calling and what they're talking about when they make those calls. We also see it in our admin functions. We have, our legal team has really worked on an RFP tool, a common place for questions that come up as it relates to what can or can we not put in a contract. Those types of things now are available to our sales team. So those are just a few examples of some of the things that we've done. There are going to be additional ones, and I would say probably in the next 6 months or so, I think we're going to see an acceleration of agents and AI capabilities that are going to be coming out, which gives me confidence to say I've got an opportunity to see further margin enhancement as we go into 26 and beyond.
Awesome. That is very great to hear. Maybe transitioning to the long-term target that you guys have set, the Rule of 40 by 2027. The margin stuff makes a ton of sense.
Yep.
That one, seems super achievable, and I think where we get more investor questions is on the revenue acceleration that's implied in the Rule of 40. So, what would you tell investors? Help them get comfortable with that revenue acceleration. If that's dependent on continued recovery in travel, just how you'd approach that.
Yeah. So, without question, the recovery in travel is a big part of it, because as recently as the first part of last year, travel wasn't necessarily firing on all cylinders. Part of that had to do with the full recovery that airlines were dealing with post-COVID and the surge in demand that they experienced. So what ended up happening was capacity within a lot of our customers was limited. And so they were really focusing on, making sure that the flights were taking off and landing on time, and they weren't as focused on IT investments. That trend has changed over the last year. It's one of the reasons why we had the results we did in the second quarter, and one of the reasons why we were able to raise our numbers for the subscription in the second half. So as that continues as travel continues to participate with B2B, that's giving us an opportunity to see expansion in our growth rate, which we are seeing in the second half of this year. So we're starting to see the first part of that. I would also tell you one of the big things that Jeff is focusing on is leveraging partners and leveraging others to sell on our behalf, more so than what we've done historically. And kind of going back to the expense bit a little bit, while we are looking to make improvements in our efficiency, we are also looking to shift where our dollar spend is. Because we can get so much leverage on the product side and our engineering team, we can afford to put a little bit more into the selling and marketing area, so we can do a little bit more brand awareness, so we can do a bit more around the demand generation, and also build out the channel capabilities. So that in of itself is a big part of what we're going to be able to do from a growth rate perspective, in addition to what we've been able to do from a travel perspective. So yeah, so we feel good about how we're positioned on that, and feel very fortunate that our engineering team has led the way they have, because it's given us the opportunity to start seeing a little bit bigger shift in investments.
Perfect. Very clear. I know we've just got a couple of questions, or a couple of minutes left, so I did want to open it up to the audience. Any questions? Sure, go ahead.
Hey guys, Jackson.
Hey, Jackson.
Any change to what you're thinking about in terms of the competitive landscape from ServiceNow getting into the front office? I apologize if you guys touched on this before and I missed it, but ServiceNow, traditionally back office, IT service management, making a strong push into things, making acquisition of CPQ. What are you thinking about ServiceNow?
Yeah, so obviously we're keeping a close eye on it. We actually had a really high-profile competitive win against ServiceNow specifically for CPQ earlier this year. So we like the positioning of our products, but ServiceNow's large. They're going to continue to invest there clearly, and so we'll have to see how that goes. Look, I actually think there's an opportunity with not only ServiceNow, but especially Salesforce, Microsoft, SAP on the ERP side, because what we see is that they're pretty good when a CPQ solution needs 200, 300, 400 line items or SKUs on a quote. Where we play really well is not really there. We play really well when you have thousands of line items on a quote. We have a customer that has 40,000 SKUs that can be dropped on a proposal, right? High-end manufacturing, think. And so we believe that's actually a partner opportunity, even with ServiceNow and Salesforce, and certainly with SAP on those really high-end complex ones where they're not really going to play very well, and that's on CPQ. POM is a totally different story. Price optimization, actually, most of them do not have those capabilities baked in, and we're not necessarily hearing that they're looking to invest in those capabilities. Our decades now of perfecting those algorithms and launching multiple generations of those algorithms really create some separation for us. And I also believe that's yet another partner opportunity, even with a ServiceNow, but certainly with Salesforce, Microsoft, and others.
Perfect. Well, unfortunately, I think we are up against time. That flew by. But Jeff, Stefan, thank you both so much for being here. We really enjoyed having you. Good conversation. To everyone in the audience, we appreciate you. Everyone online, thank you. I think it's lunchtime now. So,
All right.
thanks, everyone.
Thank you.